Music has always had an inescapable grip on us. Mexican writer Domenico Chiari Estrada said that if music were not part of the afterlife, we would have to import it. But these days we're doing a lot of importing in the electrical sense, to cell phones, MP3 players, and music sharing sites. YouTube has become a digital version of what MTV used to be. US market tracker ComScore reports that YouTube music viewing has gone up by 50% in the last year. The artist has so much more room to branch out, and given all this...
Hey, what better way to show how the internet has affected music and the artist by going busking and posting what we have online?
Yeah!
It's taking a lot of power away from this big centralized record label idea, right? And so a lot of smaller bands are getting this notion that they can define their success in a different way.
It's made the artist accessible to anyone because anyone can produce it, anyone can record it, and anyone can release it.
If you're in Nova Scotia, somebody in Vancouver can hear your music on the internet, and then you can like get to tour over there, and like that may never have happened if you didn't have the internet. You just have to make a video, post it on the internet, and everyone will see them.
It's a lot easier to advertise where you're going to be, what kind of music you are, and let people give a listen before they're sure whether or not they want to spend money on you. Because before it's like, I don't know, I don't like the name of Bob Dylan. I think he might end up being bad because I'm going to judge him by his name and I've never heard his songs before. Like, if you go to Bob Dylan's MySpace and check him out, you figure that he's got some pretty cool stuff and he's a good poet.
Via Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, they can actually post little bits of their lives for fans to see, and they can really interact with their audience.
It has opened the world to a lot more collaborations too, because over the internet you can email tracks about.
Unfortunately, it does have to hurt someone. If you download music, you do it sort of as a political statement, right? You're not meaning to hurt the small individual record shops. You're meaning to hurt, you know, HMV or whatever it is.
There's so much rapid access to music, and you can find whatever kind of music you want, even the stuff that wouldn't even be played on the radio usually. And you can just mix them and match them, and we're getting new genres and new types of music, and it's really great, I think, for the evolution of music itself.
It's also changed our perception of music, you know, very much. Before it was very localized, very centralized to that one area where you were. You would only really be immersed in that one kind of music. Now you can pretty much fling out in any direction you want.
A lot of acts that have had a counterculture message or stuff have had to really water it down for the major label, but that's increasingly being no longer the case.
Beginner performers have the same stage as, say, like Britney Spears.
You're putting the power back in the hands of the artist where it belongs.
And that's spectacular.
My favorite is Amanda Palmer. I have mad love for Amanda Palmer, former member of the Dresden Dolls, keyboardist, singer, like she plays ukulele, it's awesome. What she does to keep her art alive is she is always doing what she calls these ninja gigs. She's a big Twitter user. And she just says, okay, I'm doing a gig at this place, and then people come. And it's like a busking thing, or you know, just like in a cafe or something, and it's absolutely awesome.
One of my favorite internet artists is Flight of the Conchords. See, they started off as a little duo in New Zealand, just playing little comedy gigs. Then, one of their videos got on YouTube. So, a couple days later, you know, millions and millions of hits. They're discovered. And now they have their own show. And the episodes are even posted on the internet, on YouTube, so their fans can see them and comment and just get in more interactive with them.
Artists are now using the internet to connect to their fans. They're using MySpace and Facebook. For example, Mike Shinoda uses his website to inform the fans about anything new, what he's up to. So I guess they're relying on the internet more than any other publicity to connect to their fans. And it's also cheaper for them too, rather than hiring a publicist.
Artists are allowed to own their own art more and more increasingly throughout the years. The ones that are able to withstand the test of time end up being successful in their own way, and the ones that are just along for the trend or along for the ride, you know, they have their little brief flare-outs and they get their $1 million from touring the world, and then they're done. But the nice thing is that people no longer have to rely on big major labels to get themselves heard, and it's ultimately just probably the best thing that's happened to the recording industry.
That Dr. Haidu is referring to is called Quintet. It's made for 5 musicians. Because each musician's feed could be coming from anywhere around the world, a conductor is also needed to keep the feeds in sync. This software and other similar types of programs allow musicians to collaboratively compose and/or play music together from anywhere on Earth. C. Shepard, Mac Home Journal, observes that this kind of software gives you an advantage over your own prejudices, because you never know who you could be collaborating with.
I think music vendors are likely going to die out unless the rules get stricter and they move to the internet. But record labels are run by very smart people. I think they will become the focus more on the band's touring than they will on the actual records they produce. But I don't think record labels are going to see them disappear anytime soon.
Musicians won't necessarily need A&R as much because they can promote their own stuff and release their own stuff, but they'll still need professional recording studios, because if you record it at home by yourself, it's not as good quality. But they can sell their music by themselves so easily that it won't be as important.
Musicians alike seem to agree that the internet is changing the climate of music to, among other things, something that is hierarchical. Edward J. Malecki, Ohio State University, concludes that it is the infrastructure of the internet that contributes to this. However, some artists that are just starting out or who refuse to associate themselves with record labels will find it easier to get financial support from their fans, and we don't feel too bad about not paying for the music made by big-name recording artists who have already made it and are using the internet to maintain their success. More importantly, the internet has opened music up to many new avenues, mashups, ninja gigs, easier accessibility. But what's great about the internet is that our little busking adventure can now, with this video, reach beyond our city limits.